Hi everyone, my name is Kajsa and I've been a long-time Winx Club fan since I first found out about that amazing show. In order to celebrate the release of Winx Club The Magic is Back, Sònia Victoria Werner, the voice of Flora in the reboot, will talk more about what it was like taking over such a lovely character she once grew up with watching the show as young. She discusses what to expect from the new storyline, both as an old-time Winx fan, just like us, but also for the newer generation. She'll also talk more about her experience voicing Flora in the reboot, and the importance of themes of representation and creativity. You're listening to a special Winx episode of Voices and Visions Behind the Scenes. Hello everyone and welcome to Voices and Visions Behind the Scenes. Today we have Sonia with us.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining. Could you please introduce yourself for the viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi everyone. My name is Sònia Victoria Werner. I also go by Vicky, and I am so thrilled to be voicing Flora in the new Winx reboot coming out on Netflix on October 2nd.
Yes. And you've been voice acting for quite some time now, and acting, obviously. And
Yeah,
what inspired you to pursue the acting career?
that's a great question. I come from a long line of really incredibly smart, powerful, amazing people in my life. My family is so wonderful, but we never had any performers in the family. And so when I was a kid, I'm a first generation American, and when I was born here, I remember as a kid I had a lot of energy. And so my parents were wondering like what to do with this energy, and I don't know how we came upon it, but they ended up putting me into a how do I say that? An improv class, that's right. And in improv, I really found my rhythm and I thrived. I just loved letting out my energy in such unique, engaging ways, creating worlds and voices and characters and all of those different things. And that just led to me doing a whole lot of musical theater and then more theater. And then when I went to NYU for my undergrad, I started thinking about film and really wanting to pivot to on-camera work, voiceover work, anything in that realm on camera. And sure, I've done theater here and there, but I really have found my rhythm as an actor on camera and on the microphone. So that's been, I don't know, it all started with improv randomly. And then I just found such a joy. I knew what I wanted to do from a young age.
Yeah, and you also speak 3 languages. You're a trilingual person. How has that impacted you in the industry?
Oh, I mean, it how do I say that? When you enter the industry, they always ask like, what are you gonna bring that's different? You know, in the business world, it's called a USP, like a unique selling proposition. And as actors, we are also businesses a lot of the time. And so figuring out what makes us unique and what we can bring that is different or makes you more marketable, more seen, is always a really, really great thing. And so I always remember that when I was a kid, I was always mixing up languages. I technically speak 5 languages, but I say I'm trilingual because those 3 are pretty fluent. The other ones, less so. But I still understand them, and I am a big lover of languages. But when I was a kid, I would confuse languages quite a bit because we were always kind of in different countries or we were moving around, and I don't know. Figuring out which one to use in which context was definitely a learning curve. But I did, and now it's become a sort of superpower for me, you know? Like, it has become sort of like, if a lot of the time for voiceover, I will audition for the Spanish copy as well as the English copy, sometimes even the German copy, and it just essentially makes you more marketable. And not only that, it really does mean a lot that I'm able to infuse my cultural background and my upbringing into the work that I do today. So, yeah, I feel like that pretty much encapsulates it.
Yeah, what are 2 other languages can you sort of speak?
Yes, one of them is Catalan or Catalan. That is from the Barcelona region of Spain, which is where a lot of my family is based. And So I understand that language completely, fully. They say like auditory bilingualism or something like that. But my speaking is less strong than my Spanish. And then ASL, American Sign Language. I used to work with children who are hard of hearing, and it was really wonderful to get to learn that. And I would say I'm a novice at that. I could probably carry a conversation, but not much past that. But maybe that'll change.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool when people can speak more than one language. It's very important also for communication, in my opinion.
I agree. And I also feel like you as someone based in Europe, you're based in Sweden. Whenever I used to or whenever I currently speak to my European friends, I feel like that's the norm. That you all know like 3, 4, 5 languages.
And in which country though?
That's true. But even still, I just think it's such a beautiful thing to be able to communicate and relate to others in the ways that make them most comfortable, right?
Yeah, because most Americans, they only speak English, what I've heard. They don't really know other languages, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, indeed.
Yeah. But you're not just actor, you're also a producer, writer, and director, as you mentioned. What are some of your favorite projects you've been working on?
Wow, I love this question because I have found so much joy in so many different projects. Yeah, I mean, my primary area and what I went to school for, what I've done my entire life, has been acting. But apart from that, I am a producer and I also am a writer, and I've co-founded a production company, which we will, I'm sure, touch upon very, very soon. But, you know, they each bring their different joys. And I think, this is a creative as well, like being in front of the camera versus behind the camera versus, uplifting voices that need to be heard, and being in those positions of power has been really inspiring for me and really motivating within this industry. But in terms of my favorite projects, it's so hard to pick. I will say, as a producer, and I also acted in this film, Alone, Alone, Alone on a Wide, Wide Sea. That was our short that premiered at an Oscar qualifying film festival and is still like getting screenings internationally. We just went to Croatia for it. That one was one of the most rewarding experiences because it taught me a lot about what I value on a set as a producer. And a lot of that is just, and I've said this before, but we ask audiences who watch our art to empathize with the work that we create. But sometimes on set, you don't always see that same empathy extended to the creatives there. And that was one set that all I felt was empathy and care and joy for creation. It's a South Asian dystopian film, and it has the most incredible team behind it. And has just done so well. And I was like, for that to be one of our first films has changed my life in so many wonderful ways. So that one is definitely that. I'm trying to think. I mean, acting-wise and voiceover-wise, the Winx Club is out of this world. And I mean, I know we've spoken about the fact that I've watched it when I was a kid. And so to be able to be part of this legacy of this group is one of the most rewarding parts of my career. I have a couple of features coming out. I was in a monk film, a film about monks. And I was a sheep wench. Of course, Penelope, we love her. I really, really, I love acting on camera, on voice. I don't know, I could go on and on and on. I just filmed a TV show that was so much fun, multicam. We're producing a series later this year that I'm also acting in. So, all these great things.
And if you had to choose only one form, acting in front of a camera, voice acting, or being producer or the creative part, what would you choose?
It is so hard. It's like, this is so cheesy, but they say, like, you cannot choose your favorite child. That's how it feels right now. It feels like I cannot choose my favorite child. Voice acting, I mean, I've had so many incredible experiences and campaigns and characters. I would say definitely the Winx Club has changed my life in so many ways and continues to do so, and it's just the beginning of such a beautiful thing. So I would say if I had to pick, I would pick this one because it's also my Netflix debut, and I'm so excited about that. That has been a dream of mine since I was a little girl. So, but you know, we have so much in the pipeline, so many new favorites developing, of course. I shot a feature film in Texas called Burn the Boats, which is in the festival circuit right now and will likely be coming out very, very soon. And it gave me such a beautiful opportunity to bring a character to life through a big journey. At first, she's kind of very animated and theatrical and very smiley and bubbly. And towards the end of the film, she loses so much spark and it's just exhaustion. And so portraying that, the beginning, middle, and end of that character was really meaningful. I have so many favorites on screen. I was in 70-something student films when I was at NYU. So, like, I was hustling out there and I really loved every single one.
But you're also a part of this women-led company called Lighthosue Ladies, which helps organize creative productions from start to finish. Could you tell us more about the company and how it was founded?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to do so. Lighthouse Ladies is just the most amazing. I know I am a very positive person, but I cannot tell you. I mean, we say in the company that it's very easy to start a company. It's very easy to start an LLC. You can do it online. You can do it whatever. I could start an LLC right now, you know. The hard part is not starting. It is sustaining, you know, and is making something that is not only a profitable company, commercially successful, but one that uplifts voices, that fulfills a mission, that brings something unique and new and different to the entertainment industry. And that's what Lighthouse Ladies is really just a team of incredible humans. We have contracted over 300 different artists on all of our different sets. We have a database of 1,500 people and artists around the world who we send opportunities to whenever they arise. And it's a very meaningful ecosystem that we're building to infuse empathy back into the entertainment industry from the inside out, you know? And that's really what it is. But Lighthouse Ladies was started unofficially in 2021 when myself and 3 co-founders came together and created a film from scratch. And we just made a film, just the 4 of us doing every single production role and figuring it out, realizing that we all had wonderful balanced skill sets. And since then, you know, in 2023, we were officially founded, and we've scaled from a team of 4 to now a team of 15, I believe, going into this year. And that doesn't include all of the incredible people we work with on our sets as well. So it's hundreds a year. Yeah, it's just been such a joy to build. It is like one of my full-time jobs now, apart from acting.
And as a woman inside the film industry and creative production industry, what challenges did you face in this industry? Because it's a male-dominant sort of industry, I would say. But is it hard for a woman to step forward and be seen?
Yeah, I mean, we could have a whole podcast on this very topic, couldn't we? I mean, you and I are aligned in that for sure. I'll answer this question with a brief anecdote. And that anecdote was that when I got into NYU and when I was applying for college and looking at how I would spend the next 4 years of my life when I was first going, I remember telling everyone, I said, I only want to be an actor, period. I only want to be an actor. I want to be in TV. I want to do movies. I wasn't even thinking voiceover way back then, even though I love my voices. I didn't know that was something that I could break into. But again, I was like, I only want to be an actor. And I think a big part of that was because of the external pressures of everyone either asking you, what's your backup plan? You know, like, if acting doesn't work out, what are you going to do? You know, and then they expect you to say, I don't know, whatever else. But then there's this notion of the backup plans. And then there's also this notion of like, it's so hard to break in because there's a lot of people who look like you or sound like you or bring exactly what you do to this industry, which is also a fallacy, I really believe, because there is only one you, not to get cheesy on us, but there is only one you. And I think that's the beauty of this industry, is that there is space for everyone. No matter who you are or where you come from, like everyone brings their own unique touch. And again, it's all about sustaining. But to answer your question, when I came into this industry, when I came into NYU, I always thought, I'm just going to be an actor and that's it. And I'm going to show them. And then I realized in college that so much of the power and the way that the agency, the power to shape the industry or to make change happens from the producing side, happens from the business side. Not saying that actors don't do that. Actors are also advocates. We love that. But in our regard, I think in this context, I realized at NYU that what if I could be a really wonderful, strong actor in screen and stage and voiceover and all of these things? What if I could do that and also build a legacy where I'm able to uplift others in the process? Because I really believe that representation is not just about visibility, it's about meaningful visibility, meaningful authenticity, and intentionality. And I realized that being on the other side of it would not only allow my career to flourish as an actor, as a multi-hyphenate, but also would uplift others with me. And I feel like we need more of that mentality in the industry. I've been told a million things, every actor listening or watching knows, like, everyone will ask you about your backup plan. Everyone will ask you, I've been told before that I have too many conflicts on an agent's roster or something like that. And that just means that they have too many people who appear white and brunette, right? And, it's just about not taking those things personally and realizing, yeah, there are a lot of people who maybe are brunettes, who are women, who are very talented and all of these different things, but there is room for all of us. And I know my differences and I can market them as a business owner for my acting business and my other businesses. Long-winded answer, but definitely, I hope, answers in a comprehensive way.
And you talked about representation in media. What does it feel like for you as an actress being able to represent the Hispanic American people?
I mean, you're gonna get me emotional. It does mean a lot. It does mean a lot because I didn't grow up with a lot of family in the United States. I was the first generation in my family to be born here. And that came with its own challenges. It also made me feel a lot of the time like when I was a kid, I was figuring everything out from the ground up. And figuring out not only my academics, but also applying to college and also, forging my own path and not necessarily always having a mentor in the arts all the time. I found them along the way, which was wonderful, but I think breaking in was so difficult. And I think it's because a lot of this access is gatekept in this industry and exclusive and whatever it is. And so to be able to not only break in, but also help others break in, but also on top of that, get to break in a way that honors my cultural background, that honors my mom and my family, and my languages and who I am, is just one of the most special things. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but when I first got the breakdown for this role, they said the character had a slight accent. And that was such a big, kind of moment, because I had never seen that in Winx Club. I'd seen definitely diverse representation, which I loved, and I'm excited to continue championing. I definitely saw that, but the character never really had an accent, from at least what I've seen. And so, yeah, I was just excited to build that, to honor the Floras that came before me, to honor the character herself from the early 2000s,
Yeah.
but now giving her a new cultural spin.
Diversity is really important for me as well, because I'm Asian. But I barely see any Asian representation in American productions. It's usually the stereotypical white person, but I don't say it's wrong, but I wish we could diverse it even more and represent others, because you need a role model. So I'm grateful they're starting to change that a little bit.
I agree. And I will say also, in Winx, all of the voice actors who are voicing these new characters match the cultural backgrounds or ethnicities of those characters, which I'm sure you know. But it's just, I love how you said that you need a role model. And I think for so many young kids that this could be that, to see themselves represented in media as everything. And also just knowing that this was so intentional. It wasn't just like, oh, coincidentally, everything happened. They were looking for this. And I think that points to a really exciting shift and a lot of great things to come.
What Hispanic role models did you have when you grew up?
Oh, that is a good question. I'll shout out my mama, my Trini. She is just the most intelligent, powerful girl boss that there is, She always says, like, you can't teach hustle. And I'm like, yeah, I think hustle's in my DNA because of my, my family, my abuela, my abuelo, my entire family has been such an inspiration of just the most impactful, strong women in power. And even coming from humble beginnings, like just building such a legacy for their family has been everything to me to see. But no, I will say for a lot of young girls, I think Jenna Ortega is doing such beautiful things in the Hispanic community with Wednesday as well. And just seeing this, like, the show blow up. And I remember I watched her when I was a kid too. I'm older than her, but like when she was also coming up, and I felt like that was so impactful. Selena Gomez, when I was a kid, I watched her 24/7 in Wizards of Waverly Place. I also watched a lot of Spanish television and Telemundo and all of like every court drama that you could imagine. And I think a lot of that has inspired me. I'm trying to think of Pedro Almodovar as like a filmmaker has been a really huge inspiration for me. They're just so America Ferrera, oh my gosh. Like her and Barbie, but also her and Ugly Betty. I think a lot of incredible Hispanic talent out there that are also multilingual and just, I'm inspired by the world, really, is what I should say.
Great. Are there any voice actors who particularly inspire you, and what advice would you give to aspiring voice actors?
Wow. Yes, so many voice actors. I will say all of the Winx ladies are incredible. Jenny, Sarah, Kate, we have Zuri, Courtney, and the entire cast and crew. We've gotten to connect over Instagram, which has been really wonderful. They inspire me, and they're just booked and busy in the voiceover world, and I'm so excited for what this represents for all of us. I think you're going to love their performances when it hits Netflix on October 2nd. Who else? I grew up watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. That is like my favorite show. And so those voice actors are just next level. They all inspired me. I've always loved Kristen Shaw. She played Mabel in Gravity Falls, and her voice is just so unique and so, I don't know, just so emotive and so expressive. And I remember feeling like wow, like that kind of uniqueness does belong in TV and film. How exciting, to be able to craft characters that with our own uniqueness. Tips for voiceover actors. I would say take it seriously from day one. And what I mean by that is, I can't tell you how many times I've told people that I'm a voice actor and they say, oh, I can do voices. And I love that. Let me pause and say I love that. I love that, like, the human voice and that we can all be so silly and everything. I think it's really the stamina, and that's what I mean by taking it seriously. A lot of people can do a lot of voices, which is amazing. I love that for everyone and the talent that we have inside. But I it's about like getting your vocal warm-ups down and practicing good vocal health and stamina, and taking it seriously. If this is a career, it's going to be a lot of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, building a reel with all of your different voices and getting that professionally done if you can, or just like partnering with a friend who does that as well. Having a reel is everything. And again, just like really putting yourself out there. I like to tell the story that like I did maybe over 100 voiceover auditions before I booked my first voiceover gig. And I also got callbacks and I got closer and chemistry and all of these different things. And then I didn't book. And then I did this and then I didn't book. And at the end of the day, you know, they say that in this industry, it's all about being able to handle rejection in different ways. I would just say polish your materials, get your vocal warm-ups ready, set, go. And also just know that rejection is not personal. A lot of the time, it's just like trying to find the voice that fits the character, and your time will come. My mom always said that. She said, your time will come. And it feels like my time is coming in different ways.
You should never give up in the acting industry in general.
I'll put a period there because you're right. Never give up. Keep pushing. But also recognize I'm a big believer. Like my life philosophy is very much grounded in knowing yourself and not only knowing who you are, but also investing time into self-discovery and into unpacking all the different things going on in your mind or in your body or soul, whatever, and all of those things. And I think if we knew ourselves better, we would damage ourselves less. A quote from the wonderful James Baldwin, who is one of my inspirations as well. But it's also okay to follow the impulse of the moment, to follow your inspirations. I think that sometimes people stay in the acting industry because they feel like they have to, like, oh, I've dedicated so much time and I have to do this and whatever. But I always say, like, if it fuels you, if you love it, you will continue. And that's what we're doing, right? That's why we're here. But, you know, there are times when I do a lot more voice acting than I do screen acting and vice versa. And then producing and adding that and acting in the things that I'm producing. And the industry ebbs and flows. I think instead of a blanket statement of don't give up, it's more like listen to yourself and pursue what sparks joy.
And now we come to Winx Club, talking about Winx Club. What was it like to grow up watching Winx Club and now then you get to voice one of the girls?
They're real. It also, and like I'm sure that everyone like I seem biased here, but Flora was my favorite character way back when. And I just think like it's crazy because you grow up with a show, and I remember that I saw that I booked it. And when I saw it, I remember thinking to myself, because it was just an email. It wasn't like a phone call or whatever. It was just an email that said, hey, great news. They want to book you as Flora or cast you as Flora. And in my head, I was like, I wonder like if they're doing like a Winx Club commercial or like how big this series is going to be. Because like this can't be the real, I mean, I knew it was the real Winx Club, but you know, in your head, you kind of, it's all these like questions. It didn't really hit me until I was in the studio doing prelay. And I was like, holy crap, like I am joining this lineage, this legacy of the most incredible, like, not only creatives, but talent and story and fans and fandoms. And I mean, just, what a joy, what a joy.
So you did even audition?
Oh no, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Could you imagine? They just found me and they said you.
Exactly.
No, I did audition and I did a callback. And you know, in this industry, I didn't get my hopes up because, as I mentioned to you, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Like I auditioned for voiceovers every single day, genuinely. I wish I booked every single day, but it's all like a practice. It's all like sustaining your career, sustaining your craft, and expanding and becoming more of an expert in that. But yeah, no, I auditioned and did a callback, and then I got the email.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so fun to see the different voice actors interpret the characters we all love.
I could not agree more.
How would you describe the overall tone and style of the reboot compared to the original show?
It's a great question, because, I mean, first things first, let me get my bias out of the way, because I when I was in the booth and I was watching like when we were doing ADR and I saw it on the monitor, I remember just thinking to myself, like, this is the coolest freaking thing that I have ever seen. It was, the colors are stunning and it's more modern and it's, you know, all of these things. But I will say, with this change comes newness. It's more 3D. I know. Remember the original animation and animatics were it was 2D. It was a very specific style that Winx popularized and became characterized by, which is beautiful. So I don't know. I've seen some mumblings online, and they're saying, "Oh, it's so different. It's so this," and I was like, "Yes, but what if that's a good thing?" Like, I think it's definitely, it's undergone a beautiful update and a beautiful shift. And again, because it's a reboot, they wanted to do things differently and make it more modern, but still fun and sparkly and Winx centered. Like, the original creator who did Winx is doing this.
Yeah.
And they're animating in Italy and just have the most amazing team. And so, yeah, it's I would say it's updated, and I don't think that that's bad. Change can be good, you know? I think we just need to embrace change while also honoring how gorgeous the original animations were, because they really were. I will say, I mean, these fairies, they are crushing it. They look gorgeous on the screen. And the tricks as well. Everyone. I believe in this show so much, and just the people behind it. But you're going to love it. It's the tone and the style is so emulative. It has the same core, which is beautiful.
Yeah, and what was your favorite season from the original show and the transformation? I
first started watching the show when it first came out. When it first released and it hit Nickelodeon, I was there. And I think that like beginning was really impactful for me and might be the thing also that I went back when I booked Winx, and before my first day in the studio, I remember I put Winx on the TV and I just studied, and I was like, just remind yourself of what you loved about the characters and what you loved about Flora and what they brought and everything. So maybe that I really love them all, but that first one, I think it was literally the thing that I studied before the first day in the studio.
Did you watch only the Nickelodeon specials and Nickelodeon version, or did you also watch the original Rai version?
I remember when they started coming out with the different ones as well, like the live action versions and everything. I still haven't watched those, which I would love to, but I guess I didn't. I was worried about letting other people's performances dictate this one. Because it was going to be a little bit different and have my own spin. So I very much tried to go back to the basics, back to the beginnings, to craft my understanding of the voices while also respecting the ones that came before me, you know?
Yeah, because there has been like 5-6 different voices for Flora now.
Yes.
So there's a lot.
There's a lot. And they're all, you know, they're all just amazing and what they bring. Yeah.
And did you feel pressured to take over this role, Flora, ever? And afraid that people won't live with the new changes, because obviously you put an accent this time compared to the others.
I want to start by saying first how much of a privilege and how much of an honor before any pressure set in and any imposter syndrome or whatever it was. First things first, it was like, I get to do this. Like, what a crazy honor and what a crazy thing to be part of this legacy and to be joining this incredible team of creatives and the other voice actors. It's really just the best team. It's less of a pressure on the ego, on the self, and more of ensuring that I did justice to the character. She has been such a beloved character and such a beloved fairy, and so my job was really to honor the softness and the strength and her care, her depth.
That threw me off that Damien and Flora was a fling.
Yeah, and Damien, he's an interesting one, isn't he? This Damien. We love Damien, he's battling his own demons. And I've seen some posts that are like, why does Flora even like him? And what is this? I'm kind of I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, like, why does? But at the end of the day, Flora is still her powerful self. She knows what she's doing, and I remember being in the booth and reading her lines and being like, she's a badass. I was gonna say, because like I remember this one scene. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but Damien is a bit of a jerk to her or something, and he blows her off, and she's like, okay, have a good day. Like, instead of going and crying with her friend, she's like, do your thing, And I remember thinking that, like, she knows her power, she knows who she is, she loves her friends, and doing all of that while bringing a new layer of authenticity with her voice, with her accent, was really meaningful. And I guess I was a little nervous of how it would be received because, again, change is scary, change is different. But so far, all of the reception has been really positive and really wonderful. And I hope that people know that it is so grounded in authenticity. And this is not something like put on, but something that I grew up with. And I modeled this accent off the people who modeled me. It's more of a privilege and an honor, and just making sure that I do it justice and I do her justice. And I bring that same level of love to her character.
Did you take any inspiration from the other previous voice actors' performance and portrayal of Flora?
For sure. Oh, for sure. Blending inspiration from the past portrayals with my own spin. In voiceover, sometimes you get called in for a voice match. And at first, that's what I thought it was. I was thinking, oh, do they just want me to match the exact voice? But then with this new accented element, it was really exciting to be able to craft it from the ground up. So it wasn't a voice match, So what I was thinking in crafting this is blending the inspiration from past portrayals with my own spin on things, keeping all of the things that we love about Flora, her sometimes shyness, but mixed with the empathy and her groundedness, but also the fierceness. When she cares about her friends, when they are in danger, she will yell. She will, like, a lot of her like flower power and all of these things. There were some of them that were more intense than others, but so much of Flora is just care for the world, for nature, for her people. And that was what I really hoped to capture.
How does Flora's personality and backstory differs from the original show's storyline?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's a lot of similarities. I would say there's more similarities than differences, and the differences are just updated for the new cultural context and for the new world and new audiences. But I think people are going to be very pleased.
Were the animation finished when you recorded?
Not originally. The first thing that we did was prelay. Prelay meaning we just recorded the lines with all of the direction. We were given such amazing direction by Tom and by the 3 Beep team. I worked a lot with Dominic and just so many incredible engineers. It was such a dream come true to work with them. But they would give you the direction, and essentially you would just like say those lines, give them different takes and whatever, and then they would animate to your voice. Then, after that was all done and it was being rendered, then we would do ADR if they had any line changes, or ADR standing for additional dialogue recording. Then I had to match my tone, my voice, my speed, my rhythm to their lip movements, which is definitely challenging, but it was also fun to get to see it on the screen,
So it's sort of dubbing ADR to the material, I assume.
Yeah, it's just in case, and if the writers have any changes, or maybe something that we recorded in the prelay wasn't matching the intensity of the animation. A lot of the time, a lot of my ADR was a lot of fight scenes. And like going back and getting to see like how it was animated and realizing that if I were to say like Bloom no down here, it doesn't fit. If Bloom is like falling off of a cliff, I have to now Bloom no, you know, like throw it across the cavern where we are, you know, whatever it is. But so yeah, just replacing and ensuring that it matches the tonality and serves the story in the best possible way.
What is the favorite part of recording Wallah for Winx, if you ever did that?
Oh, I love Wallah. I love Wallah. A lot of it was like, especially the fights, you know, or the fights or the like after the transformations and the fight sequences or like the battles, you know, a lot of it was like, you know, and just being in the booth and just watching. We did a lot of Wallah and also just ensuring that it matched the lip movements and matched the intensity. And if you were thrown across, sometimes I would ask to stand up, and I would often ask to stand up and just throw my entire body physically to like feel that, you know, not against any walls or else they're going to catch a lot of noise, but just really trying to embody the behaviors that they were going through. But it was so much fun. And I also got to record like a couple like little mini fairies here and there, like some background. I remember I also voiced Fairy with bangs, but it was a different voice than Flora. And a lot of the time they would just be like, "Hey, talk about what your fairy did this day," and it was really fun to be able to be like, "Yeah, I don't know what the homework is. I hope my teacher does that." You know what I mean? Or like, "I hope Farragonda is nice today." You know, whatever it is.
How long did it take to record for Flora? Did you finish in like 1 week, or was it spread out, the recording days?
It was so spread out. Also to give the team a time to animate as well, to give the team time to animate and also finalize scripts and then rewrites and all of these different things. It took a long time, but it was so rewarding. It was spread out. We started recording last early spring or something. Maybe last winter or something. We did a lot of prelay all together, recorded multiple characters in the prelay, and we all did, and multiple episodes and everything like that, and then took a bit of a pause and then did ADR this year, and it's been such a joy. And we did a lot of the trailer work as well this year.
Did you record alone in the booth, or did you ever get a chance to record with your fairy friends?
Not yet. I mean, we are in touch, which is so exciting, and they're wonderful. But yeah, I mean, I heard them in my headphones, but I was alone most of the time alone as an actor, but with the director or the audio engineer there who was guiding me through the story and what happened. But typically I would hear their voices in my headphones so that I could react off of them, and build in my own way.
Yeah, because I remember the Nickelodeon Alejandra Reynoso, who also voiced Flora. She mentioned that recording season 5, I think, they were in the same booth.
I know. I saw that as well, that she said that, which is so wonderful, and I think would be a dream come true. But I think just because of schedules and, you know, and just ease, I guess we all came in separately. But even though it was remote, it was just so supportive and so exciting to feel the camaraderie. Because like the second that the voice cast came out, we were already in touch. You know, like we immediately DM'd on Instagram and in the comments sections, and we all follow one another, and there's just so much support and so much love between the cast, and it was so cool to hear them in the headphones from the beginning.
Yeah, I find it funny that Kate Bristol, who voiced Musa in season 7 and the World of Winx, now voices Bloom.
And she is such a talent. I mean, they all are. I know I sound like a broken record, but they really have crushed it, and their interpretations of the character. I heard a lot of Bloom in my headphones, and so that's it. Yeah, no, Kate did wonderfully.
Flora is now Bloom's best friend compared to the original, what I've understood.
They're still honoring the fact that Stella is the bestie. You know, Stella and Bloom have always been been right there. I would say Flora has become a bigger influence, perhaps, and a bigger support system for Bloom this time around. But I wouldn't say that she's replaced Stella in any case or has become more of the bestie. I think that we still see the original kind of best friendship between Stella and Bloom. I think Flora's just now more of a protective role of everyone in this season and ensuring that, yeah, that everyone's okay and cared for and seen and everything.
Do you have any memorable and funny moments from inside the recording booth while recording for Winx?
Oh my gosh, so many, to be honest with you. So many. I think also a big part of that was just our directors, Tom and Dominic, and like we just our like directors and audio engineers. They gave the best directions, and we would just be riffing off of those directions. Like sometimes the specialists would get like so, and Damien, sometimes he gets so dramatic and so angsty, and we'd just be like, "Leave me alone!" Like. I can't, you know, and it's just so like silly moments where we got lost in the world and in the character, and they just all have so much personality, and there are some lines, some one-liners, some zingers that just had me crying. I loved it. Yeah, I don't know. Just so many. There were also, like, because we didn't often get the scripts ahead of time, we kind of got the scripts when we got there, which was because of confidentiality and everything like that. It was also, I remember just being in the booth in the beginning and just like repeating those lines over to me and seeing where that landed in the accent and where that landed in the voice. Especially like we would do like Faragonda versus Faragonda, you know, like something more accented and some less accented, whatever it is, you know. And just playing with that, because they only want Flora to have a slight accent, a peak. So some lines might be more so than others, but just keeping it grounded in her truth and her character overall. But yeah, no, I don't know, so many funny moments.
Yeah, because I think in the first promo ever we saw, you had more accent on Flora, and then it slightly was reduced, sort of.
There's a spectrum. There's a variance, you know, like there are some moments where you hear the accent more clearly, and there are other moments where you don't. It's really just in building her whole humanity. She does have a slight accent throughout everything, but yeah, you know, just like in our own voices, things in situations they are more prominent and less prominent.
Did you inspire the accent from your own, like, sort of accent you would have put, or did you get any direction of what they were looking for?
They trusted me a lot. They put a lot of trust in me, which was very, very wonderful as an actor to feel so supported and so trusted. Yeah, they liked what I did, and then I did it a different way in the callback, and they kind of wanted me to run with that. I remember that we had to work a bit on making Flora less breathy, because my interpretation of the character was a bit more like shy and like a fairy and all of these and like whatever, you know, but getting her more on voice, I think, was something that we crafted together. But the accent was just, it came through the lines as much as we possibly could.
So, are there any new themes and messages in the reboot that you think will resonate with today's audience?
It's all about the power of friendship, just like the original series was. Very much about like resilience and friendship, and also what friends are for. Because there are times when I think, especially Bloom, you're gonna see where she feels like she is a burden to her friends, or that she needs to push them away because she is going through things, and her friends are always saying, you know, no, this is what friends are for. We are here to be your support, to just like you would do to us. I think we see a lot of very high highs this season and a lot of very low lows. Like a lot of challenges that the fairies go through, from like their deepest fears personified and like brought into a world. Flora's deepest fears coming to life, you know, on the surface might seem a little bit like a lot of her fears revolve around like death, the death of the earth, of different things, which I think if we look beyond just like, oh, her fear is plants dying, it's more about like the earth and and humanity in a real way of like giving back and being eco-conscious, being sustainable, and also just caring about nature and the world around us. Climate consciousness is such a big thing nowadays, and it should be. And I feel like we just need to look into these deeper messages. Self-discovery, I think family is a really big theme, and family and self-acceptance. But again, I think fans will see the same beloved dynamics with fresh twists and deeper arcs. And I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very excited to hear what the reception is. And I'm excited to chat more. And I'm happy to answer any questions as well, because I know that some changes might be a little bit like, what? But I played it with a lot of love and care and trust in the writers as well, because I definitely think that they had nothing but the best intentions in creating this, and you all are going to love it.
We're excited to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and were there any storylines that surprised you as a Winx Club OG fan in the reboot that you didn't expect or never appeared in the original show?
There are Easter eggs throughout the entire thing for the Winx fans who have been here since the beginning, which is wonderful. I encourage you to look for them. Yeah, I mean, there are different. I mean, the Dragon Flame is the big thing. We now have Damien. We have a new villain, Vexius. The tricks are still tricksing it up, which is wonderful. But I also, like, there's a lot of humanity. Oh, a big shift. We have a non-male specialist.
Yeah, Robin.
Robin. And Robin is so cool. So cool. I mean, the specialists themselves are all very cool, but also just like that it doesn't have to, it's not such a gendered world in the specialist versus the Winx and whatever it is. Like, Robin is really paving the way there. I am a huge believer in being collaborative in this industry, and so if you have any other questions, I mean, like, I encourage you can reach me on Instagram, and or even just like comment on this wonderful, amazing podcast, and I'll take a look. You know, I'm always reading what the fans say, but I really have so much gratitude for you all for loving Winx all of these years, for watching the trailers. And I think one of our main trailers is like 1.2 million views or something like that. Like, this reboot is truly made with so much love and so much intentionality and so much care. And I hope that you know that the people behind it are just next level, really. And so I can't wait for you to rediscover the magic. You know, we have also just like so many incredible dubs as well. Like, the magic is back around the world. And I encourage fans to continue talking about the show, to continue asking questions, but also to hopefully embrace the newness, you know? I think that's just the beauty of a reboot, is getting to see the characters and the story in a new lens, in a new light. And I hope that fans enjoy that. I really do appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. You're such a star, and just to reach out from Sweden is just, it made my day, and I'm so thrilled to speak more on Winx and to be a fan and to connect with you. So thank you for making the time and the space for this awesome podcast.